Anybody got snow today? Put your hand up. Yeah? Got that? Anybody scrape the car yet? Tomorrow, that is, I think. Right, welcome to the Cabinet meetings today, and we call for apologies for absence. So any apologies, only that Jenny will be a little later arriving, but that's all I've got. Is that correct? It is correct. Thank you. And the first asked on item 2 is to approve as a correct record the minutes of the meeting held on 9th of October. That's on page 5 to 7, so I'll move those. Agreed. Thank you. You are agreed on that. Declarations of interest. Non-declared for the public. That means we are interested, but we've got nothing to declare. It's a bit complicated, that one, isn't it? So then we'll move on to item 4, which is the forward plan that's reported Democratic Services Manager. Who's that?
It's just for noting.
Just noting it. Okay. We're okay with noting it? Yeah, we are okay. We're moving on. Fast and foremost. Right. Where's Nathan? Where is he? Somewhere.
Mike's doing it.
Mike's doing it. Sorry. Stand down, Nathan. You just listen. So, Ambition Arnold, item 5, report Assistant Director of Economic Growth and Regeneration. Mike.
Thank you, Leader. I'm really pleased to bring this report to Cabinet today. It concludes 2.5 years of great work to plan for the regeneration of Arnold Town Centre. Last December, Cabinet approved a visionary master plan on which to base a robust scheme for improvements that are deliverable and commercially and economically viable. This will provide a framework for future development and leveraging funding and investment. As well as improvements to the town centre, it was recognised, in conjunction with the evolving strategic leisure review, that any emerging plan needed to address the issue of ageing facilities in the northern end of Arnold. The now completed indoor built facilities strategy recommends progressing the Ambition Arnold project to deliver a new consolidated leisure centre in Arnold Town Centre, replacing the existing split site provision. Over the past 12 months, internal engagement has taken place with our leisure and theatre teams, supported by specialist consultancy advice to determine the Council's specific requirements for leisure provision in Arnold Town Centre. The engagement was coordinated by Wilmot Dixon and Leonard Design Architects to develop plans for an arts centre, including theatre and leisure centre. Engagement has also taken place with Nottinghamshire County Council and Inspire to consider how the existing Arnold Library could be redeveloped as part of our ambitious proposals. Draft REPA Stage 2 plans were prepared by the architects, taking on board feedback from the engagement workshops and other technical advice relating to planning and highway matters. A 5-week period of public consultation was undertaken between the 27th of May and the 1st of July, which included an online survey, and this was facilitated by drop-in sessions where staff were available to explain the proposals and answer questions. The plans were also available at our Arnold Summer Fair event and were promoted in our Contacts magazine. This campaign generated a really positive response, with 301 respondents completing the survey. Nearly 70% of the respondents thought the proposals were right for Arnold. A full analysis of the responses is provided in your agenda packs at Appendix 2. The design development for Arnold North has been guided by this extensive consultation with a strategic focus on delivering a new leisure centre, arts centre, including theatre and cinema provision, library and public square. The preferred scheme was progressed on the basis that the existing dental practice and adjoining retail units on Front Street would be removed to enable a comprehensive redevelopment of the site and creation of a new public square if it's viable for the council to purchase the additional sites. Should the council be unable to acquire these sites, to ensure that the scheme remains viable, 2 further design options have been prepared and these are referred to as options A and B. Full details of the plans may be viewed in Appendix 3. I think it'd be helpful if I could just briefly describe each of the proposed options. So central to the design of the preferred scheme is the creation of a new public square, providing a substantial frontage onto Front Street and establishing a high-quality environment for the theatre and cinema, arts venue, leisure centre and the library. The square has been carefully positioned and proportioned to connect directly with Front Street, drawing people into the heart of the development, whilst also improving permeability between the site and its users. This will help to create a safe environment, addressing concerns raised in the consultation about antisocial behaviour. By arranging the new arts venue, leisure centre and library around the square, the scheme ensures that the principal entrances face onto this shared space. This maximises activity, natural surveillance and the opportunity for interaction, ensuring the square becomes an animated and welcoming destination. Option A has been developed to demonstrate how the scheme would function if the dental practice were retained while still delivering the arts venue, incorporating the theatre and cinema space, leisure centre, public square and improved connectivity across the site. In this scenario, the existing library is also retained, with works undertaken to reconfigure the public realm around the library and the relocation of key service infrastructure, and that would include the plant room to the leisure centre. Option B has been developed to demonstrate a scenario where both the existing dental practice and the adjoining retail units are retained. As with option A, it permits the early delivery of the arts centre. The existing library would also be kept, with associated works to adapt the public realm and maintain continuity of service. This option establishes a more constrained site boundary for the new arts venue, leisure centre and public square, but enables the scheme to progress without further property acquisition. I would note that each of the design options can be delivered in phases, allowing the arts venue with the theatre and cinema provision to be provided in a first phase, following the demolition of the former Arnold Working Men's Club and the disused retail units. An outline business case has been completed for each of the design options. This work demonstrates that the preferred option should remain the Council's priority, but options A and B provide viable fallbacks, but are ultimately compromises that reduce the transformational impact of the regeneration programme. So in conclusion, the design work and outline business case provide a basis and framework to secure future investment and funding to ensure the long-term viability, sustainability and prosperity of Arnold Town Centre and its leisure provision. So, Leader, I recommend that Cabinet firstly approves the REBA Stage 2 plans and outline business case in support of a new arts centre, including a theatre and cinema provision, leisure centre and library for the purposes of supporting any future funding opportunities. And secondly, it is recommended that Cabinet notes the findings of the public consultation on the REBA Stage 2 plans, which have been considered as part of the final proposals. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike, for that. And just before we move on and move the recommendation, I'd like to pass on our thanks as a Cabinet to all the officers that have been involved with it, to all the outside bodies that have been working on it, all those people who responded to consultation, etc. Has been a tremendous amount of help, but particularly to the officers. There's been, as you can see, for those people that can't see, you might see now because I'm on telly, that's some of the minutes we've got today, and the amount of work that's gone into that is only part of it. So if you make sure that all the staff and the people we've been dealing with to put this bid together, we would say thank you from all of us on the Cabinet. And I've got Jenny, do you want to come in first and then David?
Yeah, apologies, Lee. I've just arrived. So, yeah, just to echo what you said, this is a clearly very studied report, very well considered report, and I thank everybody who's been involved in it, and thank the public for taking part in any consultation. Very happy to agree with the recommendations that Cabinet are asked to consider today. And look forward to progress on this particular project because it's very much needed. We know Arnold Town Centre needs revitalising, and I think this would just be the start. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, I'd echo that. It's a good piece of work that's taken us to a good place now, and I think the graphics and 3D presentations in Appendix 3 make it very easy to visualise what could be at the north end of Arnold. Certainly, I'd be happy with the preferred option and agree with Mike that the options A and B are all right, but they're a compromise. We want to go for the full fat model if we can. Which I suppose leads me to the question: what now? Mike says it's deliverable in phases. Do we now just put this on the shelf, look for money, or what's going on to move it forward from here? Thank you.
Thank you, David. Mike?
Well, we've certainly been trying to promote the design work that we've procured and that we've progressed. So that's been promoted. Of course, with the local MP Michael Payne, we promoted this with EMCA. And we're looking at potential opportunities to deliver certainly the first phase of these very ambitious proposals, but delivery beyond a first phase would be predicated on a grant funding award going forward. The costs are significant, and the priority for the council is the Carlton Active Centre. So that's where the priorities are. But we're certainly doing everything that we can from an SLT perspective to promote this design work that we've undertaken.
Thanks, Mike. Viv?
Yeah, I'd like to again echo what everybody said in terms of thanking. There's a huge amount of work here. This is ambitious, Arnold, and this is what it's about, being ambitious for our community, what we leave for our community. And I think the excellent work to think about us in terms of Arnold being the sort of the centre of sort of sports and culture in our borough outside of the city. So, places to go in terms of theatre and cinema and sport that it's accessible to people that live in Gedling, I think is just excellent. So I'm absolutely in support of what we're doing, and roll on our ambitious plans. Let's take them to the next step. So absolutely supportive of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Viv. Anyone else? No one else indicating? Okay, I'll move back. It's on page 15. And it's already been read out, the recommendations there. 2 recommendations are moved from the chair and was seconded. And we're agreed. Thank you. We're moving over onto item 6, which again is still with Mike.
Nathan's going to introduce this report, Leader.
Sorry, we're swapping again. Come on the pitch, Nathan, then. It's a bit like watching Scotland last night, wasn't it? Which was a brilliant result.
Thank you, Leader. So I'm delighted to be here today to share our progress within the Greater Carlton Plan for Neighbourhoods programme and to seek approval as the accountable body of the 10-year regeneration plan and 4-year investment plan, which outline the Neighbourhood Board's longer-term strategic vision for Greater Carlton. So on the 6th of August, March 2024, the 6th of March 2024, the council was notified by the former government that the long-term plan for towns programme would now include Carlton, with the area being set to receive up to £20 million worth of funding and support over a 10-year period. Upon receiving the news, Gedling Borough Council, as the accountable body for the programme, subsequently established a town board and appointed Sir John Peace to the role of interim independent chair. In full consultation with the local community, the board developed a draft 10-year vision for Carlton and included a 3-year investment plan outlining how the funds would be allocated across themes and interventions fitting in with the former long-term plan for towns guidance. The work of the board, however, was stopped in 2024 as the programme was paused by the Labour government. During this period, the board awaited the publication of new guidance whilst the programme was being reviewed by MHCLG. The Plan for Neighbourhoods prospectus was published in March earlier this year as part of the government's plan to ensure that nowhere was left behind. The Plan for Neighbourhoods programme empowers neighbourhood boards to drive growth locally by improving the physical and social infrastructure of their communities, delivering tangible improvements to the everyday lives of their communities and residents by targeting 3 strategic priorities: thriving places, stronger communities, and taking back control. The new prospectus set out expectations that the neighbourhood boards would work in partnership with their local authorities to develop a 10-year regeneration plan, setting out their vision for the next decade alongside a more detailed 4-year investment plan for the initial years of the programme. The Council, as the accountable body, would be required to submit the 10-year regeneration plan and 4-year investment plan to MHCLG by Friday the 28th of November 2025. In March earlier this year, Cabinet approved the arrangements for the creation of a Greater Carlton Neighbourhood Board and for the Council to develop appropriate processes that would ensure compliance with the £20 million funding award. The Council then went on to appoint external consultants, Mutual Ventures, who would support the Greater Carlton Neighbourhood Board in the planning and delivery of the community and stakeholder engagement that would be required for the programme. In April, the board were delighted to appoint David Stewart, OBE, as the new independent chair of the Neighbourhood Board. As Deputy Lieutenant of Nottinghamshire, David has extensive knowledge of communities within the community. He is also chair of the King's Award for Voluntary Service and other groups, overseeing outstanding work within communities and neighbourhoods across Nottinghamshire. Neighbourhood boards work in partnership with their local authorities to deliver the strategic objectives of the programme whilst putting local people at the heart of the regeneration plans for their area. The board have met on a monthly basis to ensure that progress is reviewed and monitored throughout the development of the programme. To comply with the board's requirements, the Council, as the accountable body, confirmed its membership and submitted its proposals to alter the plan's place boundaries with MHCLG in April earlier this year. The proposed boundary changes include Netherfield Lagoons, Stoke Bardolph, Mapley Local Centre, Lamley Lane Recreational Ground and Gedling Country Park. The amendment enhances potential for green space, recreational and retail opportunities. To support the development of the regeneration plan, the Neighbourhood Board took part in a working group activity in June earlier this year, which reviewed and refined the vision, investment priorities and final list of interventions identified as part of the previous long-term plan for towns progress. The findings and the outcomes from the session were informed by research and data that would shape new proposals for the programme. Over the summer, our programme consultants, Mutual Ventures, also led a targeted engagement and consultation exercise with key stakeholders to support the development of project themes that would be included in the 10-year regeneration plan and 4-year investment plan. To complement the extensive public consultation that informed the original 10-year vision, Mutual Ventures re-engaged with local organisations, businesses and key stakeholders through targeted one-to-one discussions. These discussions proved an opportunity to revisit priorities, assess evolving needs and ensure that the regeneration plan would reflect the current needs of the Greater Carlton area. The stakeholder engagement campaign included consultation with strategic partners, local organisations, local businesses, but also officers within the council to understand the scale and the funding requirements and any strategic alignments with council priorities that the Plan for Neighbourhoods could offer. In October, the board had agreed that the Greater Carlton Plan for Neighbourhoods vision should focus on targeted investment and partnership working across 5 priority areas, which were skills and learning, youth and aspirations, health and well-being, local economy and business growth, and safety and feelings of safety. The board's full vision and mission statement for the Greater Carlton Plan for Neighbourhoods can be found within the appendices of this report. The board also approved the final proposals of the 10-year regeneration plan and 4-year investment plan. Both plans set out the board's ambitious plans for making Carlton a more thriving, inclusive and resilient community where everyone can live well, dream big and shape their own futures. The 4-year investment plan sets out an exciting list of proposals that will improve the community and provide meaningful impact across areas including support for community organisations, improving green spaces, shopfront improvements, improvements to sports facilities, business support and advice, community learning and development, local centre and high street improvements, improvements to heritage assets and parks, and improvements to well-being and social cohesion. Further details can be found within our appendices. So it's been an absolute pleasure to work alongside the board, our council officers and other supporting stakeholders as part of our Plan for Neighbourhood journey. I believe the board have produced a regeneration plan and set of proposals that we can all be proud of and look forward to delivering for the Greater Carlton area. So with that, I would like to propose that as the accountable body, Cabinet approves the board's longer term aspirations for Greater Carlton outlined within the 10-year regeneration plan. The theme of proposals outlined within the 4-year investment plan, and also notes the outcomes of the public and stakeholder engagement campaigns that have informed the development of our proposals. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan. And similar to what I said earlier, thanks to everybody that's put this together. I took part in the earlier parts of the neighbourhood plan, which was quite good actually, because you brought together not a lot of people trying to boost some politics, but ordinary people putting their points of view, which were appreciated. I think it's John Peace led us on that first year and led us well. It then moved on now, and we've got Dave Stewart, who is the Lord Lieutenant, not the Lieutenant. I have to correct this, because the Lieutenant's John Wayne, isn't it? So that's how you do it. But it's often done. Many times I've seen it done by all sorts of people, but slight correction there. But I really sincerely thank you for that, and I think people will see at the end of the day, they'll see this come along. And again, I must thank our MP as well for chasing that one up, because I think there were 2 or 3 schemes that have come out of the 20-odd schemes where they were all announced. So we all do it in politics, or most people do. They'll promise this and then something else comes out of it. And actually, Michael did go chasing there and came up with the fact that we were one of the, I think, the 3 that got through. So we'll see some differences. There's been a lot of debate about the change of the boundaries, moving it out a little bit. I think probably initially most people, certainly in Whitehall, didn't know where Carlton was, and they just sort of put a finger on a map and thought, well, we'll spend 20 million there, without realising it was a tiny place and it could be used better if it was spread a little. But many thanks for that. Anyway, have we got any comments? Viv?
Yeah, thanks very much, Nathan, and I echo what the leader has just said. The chair has specifically asked me to say a special thank you to you, Nathan, for all your hard work. This is from David. And he'd like me also to say a very special thanks to Mike and Sally from Mutual Ventures in terms of all their work. So he's asked me to relay that back. Just from my point of view, can I just ask, I presume this is happening, but In terms of the feedback that we've had around from the community and obviously all the work that Mutual Ventures has done, does that get fed back into, I'm just thinking of parks and open spaces, does that get fed back into you, Sarah? Are you aware of some of the comments that have come back in terms of our parks and open spaces in that area that we could be getting on with some of that feedback?
Yeah, we can definitely look at some of those ideas and feedback that we've had so far and see what we can build into our day-to-day stuff as well as the big stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got Marge and then Jenny.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to the youth mayor, the previous youth mayor, Stella Clark, for turning up and her, the information that she's imparted to this board. I think it's really important that we get young people's voice on this board as well. This is obviously for their future. And the current youth mayor as well, and the seniors council and those organisations and community groups regarding disabilities. So I'm really grateful to all of those people that have contributed to shape this plan going forward, and it's a really exciting project. Thank you also to the MP for securing this money, because I believe it was spent about 3 times over, wasn't it, that pot? But he was worked hard and fought for this money to benefit our local area, so thank you.
Jenny?
Yeah, thank you, John. Obviously echo the thanks. Again, a very detailed and comprehensive report. The strategic priorities, thriving places, stronger communities and taking back control, and the themes which underpin those priorities are very much in sync with what Gedling Borough wants to achieve. They also align well with the work that's going on in the UK SPF, and I think will provide some continuity when that year comes to an end, so that we're not just left on a cliff edge, that work will still continue. And I think we all very much look forward to working with members of the board and anybody else who's supporting this programme. So very much welcomed, very happy to support the proposals that Cabinet needs to make. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. Anybody else? There's no one else? Nathan, can I just ask, bearing in mind we might get pushed into the city, is this ring fence, this money?
MHCLG have said that the money is committed at this stage, but we can't, obviously, we can't predict what the future might hold, but they have said it, their understanding at this time, it is committed, it is fully committed.
So I think just in furtherance to Nathan's response, I think the Greater Colton entity, so that area, that would remain in force. It could just be within one authority, or it could be within 2 authorities, but the actual area, so far as we understand, would remain in force.
That's something we just need to keep an eye on to make sure that, because I'm just thinking if we engage contractors or things like that, and then it suddenly gets pulled, we probably end up being liable.
It's the accountable body that could potentially change going forward through local government reorganisation.
Okay, thank you. We've got it on page 295 there. Thanks, Nathan. The recommendation has been read out, so I'll move that from the chair. Seconded, and we're agreed. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 7, and that is, I think it's Dan starting there. Dan, over to you.
Thank you, Leader. So this report sets out the performance data for the Council at the end of Q2, representing the period from July to September 2025. So starting with actions on the annual delivery plan, there are 52 actions included in the annual delivery plan spanning 6 themes, and these are customer experience and communities, smarter working, depot modernisation, Gedling growth, leisure transformation and governance control framework. Milestones have been attached to these actions that we track throughout the year. The number of milestones completed in Q2 was 33, and this represents a cumulative completion rate of milestones of just over 33%, And the table in paragraph 2.6 shows the number of completed milestones to date and also the expected number due in Q3 and Q4. The cumulative rate is expected to become more aligned in Q3 as the milestones tracking green are completed. More information on the completed Q2 milestones are available in Appendix A. Some of the achievements are listed in paragraph 3.1 from Q2, and I'd like to bring your attention to some of these. So, between July and August, our programme consultants, Mutual Ventures, led a targeted engagement and consultation campaign with key stakeholders to support the development of themes, proposals and interventions for our 4-year investment plan. Work towards the local plan has taken place, with the issues and options consultation concluding in September, and that attracted over 1,500 responses. These are now being assessed along with the suitability of sites and draft policies now being considered. The White Space Waste Management System was successfully released for operational use in municipal waste, and we're now starting to see some of the benefits of that implementation. Demolition of the waste depot shed commenced, and this has subsequently been completed. And also the initial design of the new council website was completed with high-level design approved by SLT. The website and customer relationship management capability will support improved waste service processes and subscription-based services such as garden waste moving forward, and that site has subsequently gone live. Moving on to the performance indicators. There are 30 performance indicators which are monitored on a quarterly basis in 25-26, and in Q2, 12 of these indicators either met or exceeded their target, 7 were unfortunately below target, and 8 indicators are for tracking purposes only, with 3 indicators where there's currently not any data available. The table in paragraph 4.3 shows examples of some particularly positive performance, and I want to draw your attention to a selection of these. The percentage of council tax rates collected, collection rates were 53.9% against a target of 49.25%, which represents a positive improvement from Q1. Percentage of calls to customer services answered within the service level agreement, we achieved 95.6% against a target of 85%, which is great for our customers who rely on this channel to access our services. The number of visits to leisure centres, the achievement was over 330,000 against a target of just over 291,000, which is excellent. Percentage of major planning applications processed within 13 weeks was again 100% for Q2 against a target of 92%. And finally, the number of rented households with health and safety hazards that have been remediated following the council's intervention. Given the importance of these actions, it's been excellent to see that against a target of 13, the number that had been remediated was actually 63. Moving to the indicators that didn't quite meet the target, these are set out in paragraph 4.4, and I'm just going to highlight a selection of these to members. The percentage of customers that are satisfied with overall customer services of customer service, which was 84.6% against a target of 94%. And although this is disappointing, we haven't reached the target, this is on an upward trajectory from Q1, so that is good news. The processing times for housing benefits and council tax reduction scheme for both new claims and change of circumstances have both fallen below target. For processing claims, we achieved 27.3 days against a target of 15, and for change of circumstances, 14.3 against a target of 5. There are some current resource challenges due to the loss of a team leader and also another team member, and these are contributing factors to this drop in performance. However, a resourcing report has been taken to SLT this month for consideration to address those challenges. Moving to percentage of minor planning applications processed within 8 weeks, we achieved 80.95% against a target of 86%. However, although the performance is slightly below the local target, this is due to the determination of some historic planning applications. And although it is below target, the cumulative performance for the year is actually at 87.5%, which exceeds targets both nationally and locally. And then finally, working days lost to sickness absence on a rolling 12-month total. We're currently at 13.45 days against a target of 9 days. This has increased recently due to several long-term illnesses, and some challenging casework in some areas. And this has been sensitively handled by the Assistant Director for Workforce, supported by the HR team. Moving on to paragraph 5.1, this details the compliments, complaints and MPs letters we've had in Q2. And these continue to be reviewed regularly by the senior leadership team. It is worth noting that the number of complaints received was 31% fewer than in Q1 as we continue to make improvements. Thank you, Leader, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dan. Any questions? Marge?
Thank you very much for the report. I just want to say that it's been a difficult quarter for waste management, but I'm really pleased that white space has been introduced so well. The drivers and loaders are using it, and you can see that the performance that will come through in Q3 really shows a clear improvement in the service delivery. I also want to comment on sickness. It's been commented here about long-term sickness and return to work. If you're a loader and you've been off work long-term with a work-related illness, it's really difficult to find light duties that can be done by that post, which just impact on our targets. We try. And I think it's really important that we recognise the improvements in service that have happened in the last few weeks. And I thank all of the team for their efforts in this. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Marge. My phone stopped ringing, so something's gone on. No, it is thanks, and thanks to Sarah and the team and all the people that have introducing white space, but it's significant, there's no doubt in that. And I think those figures, as you'll see, they'll change as they come through, and they'll get better and better and better. Can I just ask Dan, whether, you know, when we're looking at these and we're saying it's whatever percentage it is, do we look at that? Do we adjust it every year? Do we look at it? And I mean, not to make it easier, but I forgot which one it was now that I was going to mention, but one of them where it's like 90 or 94%, was it collection of council tax or something like that? Have we set it too high? It's so tight, and do we do sort of cross-reference with all the councils to see where they would sit, to make it fairer?
Yeah, so each year the targets for each service area are reviewed. In some cases they are obviously benchmarked where that's appropriate, and we set the targets based on what we believe is achievable and to continue for that, that continuous improvement.
Thank you. Any more questions? We just asked to note that, so we'll note it, and we'll move on to item 8, which is leisure, which is Lance. Where's there? That's it.
Yep,
Lance or Tom, either or?
Well, it'll be me presenting the report, Leader, today. But a thank you to Tom, as ever. Tom Fletcher next to me, who's our Transformation Programme Manager, who's obviously helping to facilitate some of the great work we're doing, which includes this work presented today on the leisure management options. So I'm going to present the findings of our leisure management options appraisal and share the recommended approach for managing the council's leisure services into the future. And hopefully this is a way forward where we can help to shape, to deliver health and wellbeing and community outcomes for years to come, particularly as we move into local government reorganisation. The leisure management options report itself can be found at Appendix A of the papers. So this review of our management options is part of our leisure and wellbeing transformation programme. So it builds on a number of foundations that we've started. One is the strategic outcomes planning model, which has identified the need for modern and inclusive leisure provision. It also includes our leisure strategy, which focuses on the Arnold and Carlton hub work that we're looking to develop. And that strategy was presented to Cabinet in September. We've also done the Carlton Active business case, which seeks to replace Carlton Forum and Richard Herod Centre with a new multi-purpose facility. And again, we presented and adopted those proposals to Cabinet in September. At today's meetings, we've already heard about the long-term strategic plans for regeneration in Arnold and Greater Carlton. And just to note that obviously the synergy between Ambition Arnold and the work that the Carlton Neighbourhood Board are doing, linking to the leisure strategy, is really a really helpful foundation for us to build the future and develop those facilities for the future which our leisure strategy has identified. We want to obviously enhance resident well-being, but what those pieces of work support the leisure strategy is that opportunity to ensure financial sustainability for our public service provision. So on to the leisure management options appraisal. This has been compiled by our leisure consultants, Max Associates. Max Associates have been commissioned by Alliance Leisure under the UK Leisure Procurement Framework. The Council is currently in contract with Alliance Leisure through the framework. For information, the UK Leisure Framework is a specialised procurement framework designed to facilitate the development of leisure facilities across the UK public sector. It helps to ensure high quality and socially valuable projects. Max Associates have assessed 4 standard management models for local authority leisure provision, and these are in-house management, which is our current approach, a local authority trading company, a separate entity owned by the council, an external contractor, which involves outsourcing operations to a private provider. And it also looks at a new agency model, which was introduced in 2023 by the sector, which blends in-house control of external expertise and is an alternative option for both the local authority trading model and the external contractor. Each of these options has been evaluated by the consultants against a set of criteria to determine which best meets the needs of the council. The criteria includes strategic alignment with the council's priorities, service quality and customer experience, governance and risk management, workforce implications, and also financial sustainability and the ability to invest in future facilities. A scoring matrix has been agreed with council officers that applied a weighted score to each of those criterion. Financial sustainability carried the highest weighting at 30%, followed by strategic outcomes and service quality. Just moving on to the key findings. The HMRC Chelmsford VAT ruling regarding the income for local authority-run leisure services in 2023 has had a key impact on the financial modelling of this assessment. The ruling removed historic VAT inefficiencies, making the in-house model far more competitive financially. In-house services are now exempt from VAT on income. In addition, the appraisal has also assessed the changing performance position of the current in-house leisure service. Over the last 2 to 3 years, the service has transformed its operational business planning and implementation for both swimming and health and fitness. The options appraisal reports that the current in-house leisure centres are performing well against industry benchmarks, meaning the financial benefits often expected with an outsourced model are not apparent in the financial analysis when the need to account for profit and management costs associated with outsourcing are considered. So to reflect from 2023 to 2024 to 24-25, the 4 leisure centre sites saw an income growth in £430,000, which shows some of that positive financial performance that we've seen. The appraisal of management options now assumes that swimming income could not be enhanced by outsourcing based on current in-house performance. On a contract arrangement, the assessment does assume that health and fitness could increase income by 5%. However, our own current in-year monitoring of our existing health and fitness offer is currently showing potential income growth in excess of 5%, highlighting the strong position of our in-house leisure provision compared to competitors and the other management models available. Just on this point, I'd like to add a big thank you to the great work the teams at our centres have undertaken to transform programming and customer services to achieve the fantastic growth that we continue to see across the sites at Carlton Forum, Calverton, Arnold and Redhill. In terms of the results of the scoring matrix, Max Associates have concluded that the in-house scored highest at 86%. It offered strong strategic alignment, full control over pricing and programming, and flexibility to respond to community needs. The external contractor model now offers no significant savings and would reduce flexibility and add complexity. It scored at 81%. The local authority trading company option adds cost and bureaucracy with minimal benefit for Gedling's scale. It scored 73%. When Max Associates looked at the agency model that can be applied to both the external contractor and local authority trading company, it showed a small theoretical saving of £171,000. However, this is dependent on the VAT interpretation and could shrink to just £50,000 if new employment rights legislation passes. This seeks to remove the two-tier workforce and reliance on zero-hour contracts that this model would benefit from. It should be noted the agency model also introduces complex legal and governance requirements. I'd just like Cabinet to note that at this point that since the publication of the appraisal report presented today, Max Associates have further reviewed the in-house option against the evaluation criteria. The consultants were asked to do so by officers in relation to two minor aspects within the report. The first was the assumption that a central council team oversees repair and maintenance of the leisure centres, when in fact it is the leisure service that manages its planned maintenance activity. Secondly, the assumption that an in-house service is less likely to have a comprehensive monitoring and measuring performance system. In fact, such a framework to plan and monitor performance has been implemented over the last 3 years through our SWIN scheme and Health and Fitness Development Programme, supported by consultants Big Wave Growth. Taking into account these further considerations, Max Associates have now increased the score for in-house service to 88% compared to the 86% in the document published for Cabinet. This outcome further strengthens the recommendation within this report. Financial calculations are based on the assumption that the Council will retain current central support costs within each model. To summarise the financial position of the management options appraisal, current in-house cost is scored at £1.34 million per year based on 2024-25 figures. The external contractor model is costed at £1.44 million, which is an increase in £96,000 a year. The local authority trading company model is costed at £1.58 million, which is an increase of £243,000 a year based on the current in-house provision. As mentioned earlier, the agency model could receive some savings on the in-house model. It is costed at £1.17 million. However, if employment rights legislation changes come into effect, those savings could drop to just £50,000, as previously mentioned. There'll also need to be additional capacity costs for legal and financial services required to support any implementation of this model. And there also remains some uncertainty regarding the ongoing HMRC VAT position for this agency model. One-off costs for externalisation will exist for all models. For example, up to £562,000 is the predicted cost for implementing a local authority trading model, and £140,000 is the predicted cost for an external contract model to be implemented. These figures make it clear that in-house is the most cost-effective and least disruptive option. There are further benefits regarding maintaining in-house option. It will provide consistent operational input into the design and build of the proposed Carlton Active Centre. It also provides a less complex contractual position in terms of Gedling's leisure provision for the new unitary authority that will be established under local government reorganisation when it has to consider future service change. Our recommendation is to retain in-house management. It provides the best balance of cost, risk and control. It supports our leisure strategy and Carlton Active delivery. It maintains flexibility for future local government reorganisational changes, and it enables reinvestment into service improvements and the commitment to the Council's carbon reduction objectives. This approach ensures we can continue to deliver high-quality, inclusive and sustainable leisure services for our residents. Should Cabinet approve the recommendation to retain its in-house leisure centres, the service will continue to prioritise the development and delivery of its improvement plan for both business growth and transformation. This plan will focus on enhancing customer experience, driving participation and inclusion through establishing pathways with local health services, improving financial performance, enhancing our leisure facility offer, and also supporting those carbon reduction commitments. This decision is about securing the future of leisure services for Gedling and ensuring they remain a cornerstone of health and wellbeing in our communities. I recommend that Cabinet notes the findings of the Gedling Borough Council Leisure Management Options Report, and Cabinet approves the preferred option to retain its leisure services under an in-house management model delivered directly by the Council.
Thanks, Lance. Do you want to add anything, Tom? I've never known Tom being as quiet as this. You'll be okay with that. Thank you. Anyone wish to make a comment? Henry and then Jenny.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is a brilliant report. I welcome all the work that's gone into this. It's quite comprehensive and clear in its outcomes. I welcome an in-house model. It was actually my preferred model anyway. But I think this provides stability for the workforce, and it also provides greater accountability moving forward. So I'd just like to say thank you for the officers for all the work they've put into this. It does fit quite well with our overarching leisure strategy moving forward and will provide stability for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Jenny.
Thank you, Chair. Everything Henry said, and I'd like to offer my congratulations to the staff who've ensured that the offer and the performance compare well with the other private provision within the borough. I think the figures speak for themselves. They also support the recommendation to continue with in-house management, and I think, as Henry said, that would always be our preferred option wherever possible. And certainly the figures stack up, and thank you for providing that supporting evidence. Obviously, the VAT changes will make and improve the financial position going forward, but extremely happy, Leader, to support the recommendation.
Thank you. Don't mention VAT till she's done that budget next week. David.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, I concur with what Henry and Jenny have said. It's basically a vote of confidence in the existing management and the recognition of the service improvements over the last few years, which is good to hear. And also maintaining the existing management model gives us the flexibility under LGR, whether we're part of the rural authority or part of the urban authority. Yeah.
Thank you, David. Anyone else? No one else? Well, it's been, you've read it out, Lance, so there's note in the first part of it, and the second is Cabinet approves the preferred option. I'll move those from the chair. Seconded, and we're agreed. Okay, thank you. Oops. Item 8 has been withdrawn, so that's, is it 8? No, 9. Item 9 has been withdrawn, so that brings us to the end of the meeting. Thank you.